Keeping it real, who that sports pod, legendary coach Rock, Dog 17, let's rock. Who that? Boss kick, black and gold, let's go. First and goal, from the one, best believe, we go punch. Punching in, get them punch. With them Saints, watch us march. Down the field, down your throat. Keeping it real, who that sports. Breaking news, interviews, open lines just for you. Call in, join in. Who that nation? How you doing? Come on in. Take a seat. Sit back, relax. Put your feet up. Grab a drink. And let's talk Saints football. Y'all know what time it is. Time to keep it real. Let's go. Family, family, family. The doors are now open. So come on in. What's going on, family? It's your boy, DOLPH Jackson, the host of the Keep Me Real Who That Sports podcast, presented by the Come On In Sports Network. I want to thank each and every single one of you for joining us today, family. And I want to remind you, family, that later on today, we will be joined by Mr. Jay Harris of ESPN. That's right, Mr. Jay Harris of ESPN will be in the building to talk about his story, his journey. The icon himself would be in the building on the Come On In Sports Network. So make sure you have those notification bells set and ready for Mr. Jay Harris. It's going to be a great show. Cowboy, Carlos, and myself. Special guests will come on also. So looking to have a great conversation. And look, just have a good time speaking to Mr. Harris. And just listen, we're going to learn about his journey. We're going to learn about everything he's recently gone through. We're going to talk to him about his advice for those aspiring to be in the same field which he has successfully maneuvered throughout his career. So that's laid on today, family. 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay, family, why are we here? New Orleans Saints offensive preview, baby. We are only 10 days away, baby. July the 23rd, the New Orleans Saints report for training camp. And my, oh my, how times have changed. The Saints entered this season as an enigma, unknown, predicted to be bad, horrible. Power rankings anywhere from 28 to 32, and I'm probably being kind by saying 28. We in them 30s, baby. They just think the Saints are destined to have the first pick in the 2026 NFL draft. And why? Because it has been wholesale changes. The Saints have cleaned out the cupboard, baby. They cleaned it out bare. This is a whole new regime, and this is Kellen Moore's time. And if I'm Kellen Moore, the hell with the so-called experts and analysts around this country think. I ain't trying to start my coaching tender off with a losing season, with a losing record. No, sir. No way. Just because they say that's what you have to be doesn't mean that's what you're going to be. Remember, last year, the Commanders go from 5-12 all the way to the NFC Championship game. Now look, they're considered one of the favorites in the NFC. It doesn't have to be 2, 3, or 4 years. It can happen, but everything has to align. And over the last 4 years, the last several years, things are not aligned up properly for the New Orleans Saints. So let's hope that this year things will align properly for the New Orleans Saints. One thing that's going to have to align properly for the Saints family is going to be health. Plain and simple, this team has just not been healthy. They have been hit hard by the injury bug. Again, last year they were. And when you start going down to your third string, and then your third string's back up, and then you're making calls, bringing people out of retirement to come in and play football games in a week or 3-4 days, man, it's It's hard, man. But listen, this team, they finished 5-12. And like the old saying goes, you are what your record says you are. And the Saints were a 5-12 football team last year. A 5-12 football team that played the majority of the season without key contributors like Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. We can go on and on. The New Orleans Saints were hit by the injury bug. The New Orleans Saints covered was bare as far as they go. As far as it goes, as for depth, the depth of this team has been hit in the last several years. This year, the Saints made all 9 draft selections. I was proud of them. I was happy they did that. And again, for this draft class to be successful, I would call it a success if the Saints are able to get 3 to 4 starters out of this. And if they're able to get, let's say, 7, 8 contributors, major contributors, this would probably be one of the greatest draft class in the history of the New Orleans Saints. But we shall see. Everything gets started on the 23rd, and everything starts with this man here, Kellen Moore. This is his time. This is what he's been working for since he's been a youngster growing up. His father was a coach. Now he grows up. He becomes one of the most prolific passers, the most prolific passer in the history of college football. Comes into the NFL, has stints with the Cowboys, stints with the Lions. Everyone respects his mind. They like, man, he has a mind for the game. Becomes a coordinator for Dallas. Dak Prescott had his best season under Kellen Moore. He goes to LA to work with the Chargers, Justin Herbert. Herbert got injured. Things didn't go quite well there. But then last season, man, he goes to Philly. And what does he do? He unleashes that beast Saquon. His offense, his system is tight end friendly. It's a system that's player friendly. And the thing that you hear about Kellen Moore from his stints everywhere else before arriving here in New Orleans is the players say he's approachable. He's open to listening to player suggestion. Why? Because he's the type of coach that wants to put his player in the best position to be successful. He doesn't seem to be the type of coach who's about, this is my system and you have to fit into my system. He's adaptable, and that's something that I'm looking forward to see as the maturation of the Kellen Moore era begins. As he begins on this task of rebuilding the New Orleans Saints and getting the Saints back to the postseason, baby, and fighting for the NFC South title, because them Bucks, baby, they done had that for too long. It's time to take that back from them, baby. And by the way, it's been 4 years since the Saints have made the playoffs. There are only 3 other teams with longer droughts than the Saints, and 2 of them are in the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons, 6 seasons. Carolina Panthers, 8 seasons. And the New York Jets have missed the playoffs, family, for 14 consecutive seasons. Hey, I'm an original Saints fan. It took us 20 years to have win the season, so the Jets still have a little ways to go. But getting back to the Saints, this man, Kellen Moore, his journey begins. I love what it has gone on this off season. I love that he's put his stamp on this team. From the selection of Tyler Shuck, you can see the moves that this team has been making. He goes and he gets Calvin Banks Jr. in the first round. Why? Because he believes in building from the trenches. You build from the trenches. We all love skill position. We love the toys, baby. Like Coach said, shout out to my co-host, Coach Rock, and the quick update family. Coach is doing better. He's doing a little better. He's home. So he wants me to thank you all for all the prayers and well wishes that you all have sent out to him. And he's looking forward to getting back, man. But he's taking his time. Of course, he's trying to get right. And that's all that matters. Now, getting back to Kellen Moore, like I say, I love that he's having 9 open practice. Now, Who That Nation, you get to see your Saints for 9 practices this training camp. Man, that's awesome. Then I love the fact that the team will take a break from the city, from the heat and humidity here in the Gulf South, baby, here in the Bayou, baby, in the dirty. And they're going to go all the way to the West Coast, baby, and they're going to hang out for a week before they go head to head with those Chargers. And I think that's a good thing. You're on the road, you're bonding with your teammates. You kind of get to you kind of get to learn each other's moves. You get to learn each other more as human beings, and not just football players who are competing with each other. But what I do like is he has created competition throughout this team. Everywhere he's created competition in this team: quarterback room, offensive line, secondary, defensive line, and running back room. Now, one player who's going to benefit is Juwan Johnson from Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore and Juwan Johnson had a discussion this offseason when Juwan was deciding whether to come back to New Orleans or take his talents elsewhere. He loved his conversation with Coach Moore, and he decided to re-up with the New Orleans Saints. We're going to take a look at this article from Touchdown Wire, and this is one of the major reasons that Juwan Johnson decided to re-sign with the Saints, because I'm sure that he was aware of this here. Let me get that up there for your family. And there. Again, this is from Touchdown Wire. And it reads, and this is Touchdown Wire. They have a list of breakout players this season for each team, and they believe that Juwan Johnson is going to have a breakout season this upcoming season. It reads, it feels odd to suggest a 28-year-old who has already played 67 games with the Saints is about to break out, but Johnson could reach another level in Kellen Moore's offense. Tight ends have always been a priority when Moore has called plays. Again, Coach Moore prioritizes getting the ball to his tight end. When he began as offensive coordinator, he had future Hall of Fame tight end Jason Witten, who saw 83 targets in 2019. Then Dalton Schultz. He had 89 of the targets in 2020, 104 in 2021, and 89 in 2022. Gerald Everett had 70 targets in 2023, and Dallas Goedert still saw 72 passes go his way across 14 games last year. Johnson had a career-high 66 targets last season. His volume is about to go up, and Moore's fresh perspective could find new ways to get him the ball. This is, of course, from our friend John Sigler, Saints Wire, Touchdown Wire, USA. So Juwan Johnson is set to possibly benefit from Kellen Moore being his head coach and offensive coordinator. We have seen that everywhere that he has been, the tight end has been a vocal point for Coach Moore's offense. Juwan Johnson has the ability to be a nightmare problem for defenses. For Juwan Johnson, it's about staying healthy and it's about consistency. Earlier this summer, I asked a question when it came to Juwan Johnson. Was it Juwan Johnson, or was it that the former regime, they didn't prioritize making him more of a focal point of the offense? Well, evidently, Juwan believed that Coach Moore is going to do that, and he's going to be a more vital part of this offense. And if he becomes that tight end that can threaten the seam, listen, he's a former wide receiver. He's too big for slot corners, and DBs. He's too fast for most linebackers. He listen. If you remember the play last year, or the year before last, that last game against Tampa, that when he caught that ball, man, down the seam, that's the Jawan Johnson we need. We need that big play, Jawan Johnson, man. We don't need a Jawan Johnson who's dropping potential 2-point conversions to win the game. Jawan Johnson has talent. There's no question about it. This young man was undrafted free agent, earned his way onto this team as a converted wide receiver to a tight end, sent Adam Troughton packing, won the job, won a contract. Again, this offseason, he was the number one tight end on the market. People want to say the market was weak for tight ends. Well, it is what it is. It was his turn. It was the group that he was a free agent with, and he was considered by the majority as the top tight end on the market, and the Saints kept him home. Now they bring in a head coach and offensive coordinator who loves to use the tight end. Now, Coach Moore's got a Again, he's got a task in front of him. Last year, the Saints ranked 24th in points scored. 24th. Now we know the Saints got off to that awesome start, scoring 47 in the season opener against Carolina, then going on the road to Dallas, surprising the Cowboys in America by scoring 44 on the Cowboys before the wheels came off the bus and the season went straight down. But it did lead to the Saints cleaning house. It forced the Saints' hand to clean house. The Saints offense last year, family, also ranked 21st in yards per game with 320 yards a game. That's it. 320 yards a game last season. This offense has to get more consistent. It has to get better. The Saints must improve in a lot of areas, family. And one area they must improve in is in third down percentage, is on third down. Last year, the Saints ranked 28 in third down success rate. That's because the majority of the time they were in third and long, 3rd and 6 or more. That's why you hear me constantly preach about first down success. First down success. Success on first down. We look at success on third down as we see here. But I like to look at success on first down. First down can set a possession up for being successful. How successful is a team on first down? Are you getting 1 yard on first down? Are you losing 2 or 3 yards on first down? Are you getting three yards on first down, 3 yards on second? You got a manageable third down and 4. It, to me, at least, if you're getting 3.5 yards, 4 yards per play, that man, that's great. Now, if you're on the other side of the defense, that ain't great. But the Saints too many times found themselves in third and long, not only from poor execution or play calling, but from just bad play. Untimely penalties, man. Shooting yourselves in the foot. The Saints cannot afford to do that this season. Now, one area that the Saints were strong in, were good in, they were right outside the top 10, was in the money zone, baby, in the red zone. The Saints ranked 11th last year at 58.14% in the red zone. Now you get that up. Just improve by 4. If they improve by 4, then they go to number 7 in the league in the red zone. I would take that. These young quarterbacks this season, they must protect the ball. But early on, Coach Moore, he's going to have to protect his young quarterback, no matter if it's Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler. And listen, shout out to the great Mike Detillier, man. Like Mike said, Mike believes, hey, it's just Tyler's. It's Tyler's to lose. For him to not be the starter, he would just have to really look bad and look like he is, over his head. And if that's the case, hey, you go with Spencer Rattler. to start the season. And hell, if that happens, Spencer might not get that thing back, But I am so much looking forward to the maturation of these two young quarterbacks, because when you sit down, you think about it. Spencer, when he got selected here last year, he knew that Derek Carr had at least another year or two here in New Orleans. And so there was no chance of him unseating Derek Carr as the starter here. Now Derek Carr retires abruptly. Now there's an opportunity for Spencer to be a starting quarterback, have the ability to compete to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League in his second season. Then how about Tyler? Tyler's a second round pick, number 40 overall, who's coming into a situation where he right now is the front runner to be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints in his rookie season, because he was handpicked by the head coach. These two youngsters, how will they handle it? How will they handle this competition, this battle? Listen, it's the NFL. Everyone's out there competing. Your teammates, they're out there competing to make the team. So you're gonna have plays that are not successful. That's where I want to see these kids in action. What kind of makeup do they have? We saw what kind of makeup Spencer had last year. Spencer had moments when he looked damn good, halves when he looked really good, and then he had halves where he looked like a fish out of water. He looked like a rookie quarterback, which he was. But whoever's the starting quarterback, I believe is going to have to be eased into that being that starter. They're going to have to earn the trust of Coach Moore, and Coach Moore is going to have to earn their trust, because as a player, you want your coach to have trust in you, and as a coach, you want your players to have trust in you, that you're going to do, that you're calling plays and setting them up for success. You're calling plays that enhance their strengths. That's the kind of relationship that you're looking for. Now, our area where Coach Moore and then Saint again must improve on, we just spoke on, was on third down, where they ranked 28 on third down conversion. Now, the Saints were right in the middle of the pack rushing wise, as they ranked 14th last year, averaging 115 yards a game. They averaged 14 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns. 4 yards a carry. That should be 3rd and 2. But again, when you have to take into context, when did these yards come? Did they get a lot of these yards when it was 3rd and long and they just called a draw play, or the quarterback just scrambled? So you have to take into context that 4.4 yards per carry last year, and they only had 15 rushing touchdowns. That rushing offense suffered last year. If it wasn't Elvin, there was nothing. That's why I believe this year's New Orleans Saints running back room going into camp may be the strongest that it's been in recent memory. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the Saints depth chart right now, family. Let me get that up there for you. So as we take a look at the New Orleans Saints depth chart in running back room, of course, Alvin's the starter. You got Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, Cam Akers is in the building. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in the building. So these are the young men that are going to be battling to back up Alvin Kamara. And it is now put up or shut up time for Kendre Miller. It is put up or shut up time for Kendre Miller. Kendre Miller has to show up. We know that him and Dennis Allen did not have a good relationship. But some of the things that happened was on Kendra also. You got to come to camp in shape, son. You got to be ready. You got to keep your body ready. You got to be mentally locked in. You have to know what you're doing when you're out there. When the kids have been out there, we see the explosiveness, the power, the speed, the aggressive running style that he has. It's there. It's there. It's just like, man, first of all, can you stay healthy? First, last year, first day of camp, he was hurt. Can't afford to do that. Not this year. Cam Akers is on this football team this year. Devin Neal. Yeah, he was a 6th-round selection, but Devin Neal, who everybody loves, you watch the kid at Kansas. This kid's hungry. Devin Neal's on this team. So Kendre Miller has to show up. Show up and show out this year. And Elvin, man, look, Elvin was only 50 yards away from having his first 1,000-yard rushing season. And again, every time I think about it, we're talking about the leading rusher in the history of the New Orleans Saints, and he has not had 1,000-yard season. But all purpose wise, he's one of the best I feel ever to put on a uniform in the National Football League. He's just special. Last year, Elvin led the Saints in rushing with 950 yards. They're 50 away, baby. Just 50 away. But injury slowed him down and prevented him from getting his first 1,000-yard rushing season. Now, last season, the Saints were 23rd in passing yards per game. They had 12 intercepts, 21 touchdowns, only threw for 205 yards a game. No, we touched on it again, but I got to go back to it. This has to get better. It has to. Complementary football. If the Saints are able to establish themselves as a physical downhill team running the ball, that opens up the play action game for the quarterbacks. That gives them easier reads because, the defense will be forced to bring safety down into the box. You get one-on-one with Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, and again, Juwan Johnson could. I think that's a good call by the touchdown wire of Juwan Johnson that's being the breakout player for the New Orleans Saints. I think that's a real good call by them. Now, the success rate in the red zone, again, the Saints were 11. They were 58% in that last year. So that was one area that they were successful in. Now, we're about to read an article by our brother Ross Jackson at Louisiana.net. And Ross here speaks about quarterbacks aren't the only key to success for the Saints in 2025. So he gives us a few more things that can lead the Saints to being successful here in 2025. Let's take a look at that right now, family. Let me get that out the way so you guys can see that. And hold on. There we go. All righty, family. Here we go. All right. Quarterback. This is the obvious headline for the Saints season, but not the lone ingredient for success. Where second-year passer Spencer Rattler or rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck, getting steady play at quarterback is imperative. The thing is, the Saints don't necessarily need superstar level production in the process, though they'll take it if they can get it, most definitely. Reliable, consistent, and competent game management and good decision making will go a long way. I love that. I'm gonna read that again. Reliable. Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, they must be reliable. Coach Mo must be able to rely upon them. They must be consistent and competent game management. managers and may be good decision makers with the football. Great, great, great analysis right there by Ross. New head coach Kellen Moore has a track record of successful rushing offenses, which can take some pressure off the young quarterbacks. Like we were speaking about, you don't want the game to come be on the shoulders of the young quarterback. Now, listen, if it's late in the game, it's under 2 minutes, you got a couple 30, 40 seconds on the clock or less, and you're going in you need a game-winning field goal or touchdown. Hey, you can't have kitty gloves on then, baby. You got to go out there and you got to cut loose, you know. Offensive line. In order for the quarterback and Moore's run game to produce, the offensive line will have to hold up. Again, to me, this is the most imperative, most important unit this season for the New Orleans Saints, the offensive line. And I'm not just talking 1 through 5. I'm talking 1 through 8, possibly 1 through 9. First of all, as Ross says here, when healthy and on the field last year, the Saints' top 5 were very effective in the rare games in which all 5 linemen were healthy. New Orleans was at its most explosive. They were. Again, it comes down to health. The drop-off from starter to backup, however, was drastic and hard to overcome. Again, depth, quality backups. This year, the Saints go out. They sign Dylan Reyes. They bring Will Clapp back. 2 veterans. That's an upgrade from what they had. They re-signed Landon Young. Landon Young's back in the building. They're confident in Landon Young. They believe in Landon Young. Will Landon Young be the next James Hurst? Shout out to Jeff Nowak of WWL Sports Talk and Mike Haas. I was on with the guys this past Friday. It was a real good time. And Jeff feels that Landon Young could become this year's version of James Hurst. We will see. But just on paper, the depth, the backups for the New Orleans Saints look better than what they had last year. Now, New Orleans made clear improvements to their offensive lines, swapping former journeyman left guard Lucas Patrick for tackle turn guard Trevor Penning. Drafting Texas consensus All-American Calvin Banks Jr. and we spoke about this also on Sports Talk, man. This kid and Fuaga last year had to be 2 of the most least talked about New Orleans Saints first round picks in recent memory. Ross now goes on to say, to a man, the left tackle role in moving Talisi Fuaga back to his collegiate right tackle spot. Should this line perform as expected and most importantly, stay on the field together to develop continuity with each other, trust, understanding, communication, all that goes, man. All that matters. It could jumpstart the Saints' rebound and drive improvement over the next few years. Continuing to build experience depth will be another important factor. And we'll get on the defense when we take a look at the defense on our next episode. But yeah, that's our brother Ross Jackson there at New Orleans Football. Shout out to Ross for the great work he does over there. So, family, in closing, our New Orleans Saints start a very exciting journey. Though right now, all things are not turning up. The arrow is turning down. Everyone is turning down at the New Orleans Saints. Everyone is saying that the New Orleans Saints will be bottom feeders. The New Orleans Saints will be the 32nd or 31st best team in the National Football League, making them the worst or second worst team in the National Football League. The New Orleans Saints will have the number 1 or number 2, a top 3 pick in next year's NFL draft. That's what they're saying. That's what they're expecting. But to a man, in that Saints locker room, in that coach's room. The hell what the outsiders are thinking. It's all about the people in the building, the leadership, coaches, players, leadership, want to, desire, not being selfish, playing for team and not self, and playing for who that nation, playing for a fan base that is behind you, that will, man, show up 1, 2 o'clock in the morning at the damn airport to welcome you back after a big road win. That's the kind of fan base you have here in New Orleans. Now, again, many don't think that the Saints will be much this season. They even downgrade the Saints' talent. Fine, let them do it, because those same people who are saying that the Saints are not going to be anything, they're not going to be much, will be the same people when the Saints make them all pucker up and kiss you know what, because the New Orleans Saints, and I'm predicting it, I'm calling it right now, the New Orleans Saints are this year's surprise team. The Saints not only improved their win total by 4, I'm doubling up. The Saints improved their win total by 5, and I haven't even seen the first practice or preseason game. I got to go with it. I'm going 10-7, surprising everybody. Hell, we might go 11-6. That's right. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I really don't care right now. Y'all know I normally don't do this, but you know what? This is how I'm feeling. I got a feeling, family, that the only thing that will hold the New Orleans Saints back this season is the New Orleans Saints. The cupboard isn't as bare as many would lead you to believe. There's talent on this team. There's young talent. There's hungry talent. Now we need some players to step up. Will Bub Means be that kid? Will Cedric Wilson Jr. have a bounce back season? He had his best season in Dallas when Kellen Moore was his offensive coordinator. Will Jonathan Peoples-Jones make a terrific, heroic comeback in his career? Will Mason Tipton bounce back and have a bounce back season after last season failing to live up to expectations after his hot start in camp? Will Kendre Miller finally be able to deliver on all the God-given talent that he has by staying healthy and being mentally locked in? And can the New Orleans Saints offensive line, the starting 5, matter of fact, the starting 7, can they stay healthy for the majority of the season? And most importantly, can Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler be the man for the New Orleans Saints, not just for this season, but for the foreseeable future? Or will we be right back in the draft next year looking for a quarterback? I'm Dolph Jackson. This is the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast. Once again, family, I want to remind you to join us today at 3 p.m. Central Time. We are scheduled to be joined by Mr. Jay Harris of ESPN. Last week, we had some technical difficulties. We're going to be working to make sure we don't have those difficulties this week before showtime. Again, Mr. Harris was gracious enough to come back and be with us. He really wants to be here. So, again, we're looking forward to having him. Again, set those notifications, family. 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern on the Come On In Sports Network, the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast. Then over the entire Come On In Sports Network, Real Fan Sports, Uneducated Sports Talk, Atlanta Falcons Fandemic. Come On In Bills, baby. It's going to be a great day here on the Come On In Sports Network, family. I thank you. And like always, family, love and who dat. And I'll see everybody later on today. 3 p.m. Central Time. Jay Harris is in the building, baby. So come on in. See you in a minute, fam.